what's the innovation arc that your company in specific or you've done in the last couple of years?
We take about 6 to 9 months to design the chip. Chip goes to a factory, takes that 3 months time for the fitting to be done. Then we call it finalization. That finalization takes about 6 months. So there are grades of chipset. It's called production ready chipset. So that cycle takes that 2 years, end to end.
Okay.
It's not like we are doing all 2 years we are designing a chip. So the cycles, because then there's a mapping we need to do. It'll be a little shocking for you that for the production chip, there are chipsets we run for almost 6 months continuously. It's called the testing phase. So we know how to, only based on testing, real testing. It's like every other automotive testing.
So, for example, if you take, it's a good example you give of the car. Right? The car has so many parts.
Yeah.
A lot of it is electronic. But the car can be, minus 10 degrees in Ladakh. It can be 50 degrees
Right.
in Rajasthan. The chip still has to function. And these are electronic items. Sometimes they stop, or the performance decays when you're in very cold, very hot environments. So you need to run all those tests and make that.
Right. So we look at the product life cycle innovation in the sense, there's a wave, right? If there is a 4 megapixel camera, how long will it last and what's the next wave? So it's like, to see how the chipset works, you need to have the ecosystem also that is building out.
Right. So what's the urgency for these innovations if it is going to take this kind of a timeline, or even if the build of it is going to sustain for a long period of time?
Certain paradigms have changed, even from beyond my gray hair. I think the paradigm has completely shifted in the last 10 years, for sure. Your dependency on your technology, dependency on your data, and therefore the security, privacy, and other impact that it creates is far, far more global.
Right.
So, to your question, why the urgency now is, come COVID, when the dependency on this data and bandwidth and cloud became so obvious, all the countries have realized that, you are all depending on one country, which could potentially be a strategic risk in some form. India has a different perceived risk, I guess. Maybe US has different type of perceived risk. So all countries came to that realization, while that calling was always on the cards. But electronics do become a huge import. We import close to about $80 to $90 billion year on year. And no amount of push from the government is helping that reduction in that import.
Curious to know more? Watch the complete video on our channel.